Yes, I got it. Okay. I'm gonna call the meeting to order at 6:46 p.m. on Wednesday, March 22nd. So the first thing we have to do is roll call.
Roll call. President Jennifer Schultz,
Here.
Vice President Richard McClure, here. Treasurer Gwendolyn Newton, here. Trustees Karen Wise, here. And Eric Shotwell,
Here.
and Secretary Jake Dudek is absent and excused.
Okay. And can I get someone to approve the agenda? Or make a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. And second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I can remember that sooner. Okay, we have no public here. And so we will skip public comments, or just say there's none. And now I need a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Great. I was going to report on tiles for my president's report, but I will put that on to the end of the agenda under old business. Okay.
Okay.
So other than that, I don't have anything right now. Other than I went to the book sale and it was very busy and I bought a bag of books. Oh, you did thanks. I did. I even got some zucchini seeds in my bag sale. They had some pods. There's like a thing of 6 of them. And I took that. That's enough zucchini for, 3 families. All righty. So Vice President Rich, you got any?
I have no report.
Okay. And Jake's not here, right? Which brings us to you, Gwen.
Okay, so the treasurer's report, you'll see in your packet, I think it's the second page, that the third page after the regular, minutes from last month. I don't know if people have looked over the balance sheet. And the second page of the balance sheet, it shows it shows up to date, what our investments are. And we might go back over that a little bit, okay? And then the prepaid expenses, I don't know if people have reviewed those. I reviewed them and don't have any questions, April.
Okay.
And then if there aren't any questions, I'm going to present the financial statements and bills and make a motion to accept the bills for payment that I presented. And
I
So
will
you need someone
second
to make
that.
the motion, or you made?
I made the motion.
That's okay.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Am I supposed to say like 4 yes votes or? No,
I'm just thinking we just.
Motion, you could say motion approved.
Motion carried.
Motion, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so, but you have other business, correct?
But that's gonna be another planning thing.
Oh, okay, well then,
Yes, it's not in the treasury.
we'll close out the reports and go to April. So where's that report?
Okay, and before I start that, I did want to give you an update on the property tax information. As you'll see, under 402 property taxes, we currently have received to date $1,410,488.38. I emailed back and forth with the deputy treasurer and found out that they are about to begin settlement with Oakland County to finish the 2022 tax year. She does have the last week of payments collected for us and the delinquent amount. So all told, we are still going to be getting $52,302.83. $52,302.83.
Thank you.
And they will disperse once the final disbursement goes out, they'll provide a settlement sheet, hopefully by next month.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay.
Okay, director's report. So it's been a really busy, it's been a busy month. Administrative wise, I had the opportunity to judge the Huron Valley Optimist Essay Scholarship Contest, which I was really happy to participate in this, as I was previously used to judge the Reflections Contest in the Walled Lake School District. So this was a nice opportunity to read some of the wonderful works that our high schoolers are doing. So good stuff there. Met with the fire marshal to discuss and get measurements of all the rooms for building capacity and occupancy, as we did talk about last month. And Jen and I have been reviewing signage for that will be going inside of each of the rooms.
What is our total capacity?
So it's not treated as a total. In fact, I asked that question if we could treat it as a total, because I have seen signage in buildings that is the total first floor, blah, blah, blah. They don't do that. It's per room. So as a, for instance, this room is 109. A lot of it has to do with out there. It has to do with shelving as to how that's affected. So like the teen room is 11. And that's because of the way the shelving is, how much shelving is in there and the seating. So they came and had specific measurements and provided those to us. So we're working on signage.
So that capacity in every room, how many people could be in this building?
I'd have to add it up. I don't have it in front of me.
Not a lot, like not even,
Not even
it
300.
doesn't seem like, but anyway, I was gonna ask. About the one about like the main library, what does that encompass?
So that encompasses the mix and the part of the adult, like where the computer areas are. That whole area. And again, that's affected by the shelving as well as why.
So it's from like
There's that.
the end of the mix over basically.
Right. Correct.
Does the lobby itself have a number? It didn't seem to be. accounted
Didn't give
for
it.
in
He
any way.
he didn't give that. I can double check and see more specifically.
And so the teens is the teen room and kids is from where the children's
Right.
entrance is.
Yes,
back.
yes, and the garage is
Seems
separate.
So small.
Yeah.
I was really surprised.
I'm really sort of surprised only 11 in the
In the teen.
teen room. I agree, that seems small.
And yet the maple room. But that other room, it's different the size of that. It's.
But all the shelving.
I understand
Yeah,
that.
you know, it's how you exit a room.
I think the surprising thing was the study rooms. Only study room number 1 is for 2. The rest of them are for 1. So it's a little different.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I mean, I know he knows what he's
Makes-
doing. It's
that
not that,
makes
it's just
sense.
like I didn't understand how small those.
But it doesn't, yeah.
It doesn't. And I'll tell you the way that usually it's never so much a problem. I know that in my past library, it was a little bit of an issue when with the study rooms and you would walk by and see 12 and a 4. And it's like, okay, hi, come on, let's go. Right now it's not so much an issue, but for future, it's good to have those numbers just to kind of say, hey, no.
So, but like, so the friends will have to keep track of how many tickets they sell. Because you're only supposed to put, I'm not saying we're gonna sell 200 tickets to the T, but it's only 122 in here. or 111?
109.
109. I'll check it tomorrow.
Oh, okay, and then,
Oh,
Because I'll be in tomorrow.
so I don't know how many people they're expecting, but they should be aware.
we had a lot more than that when we did their last big activity in here. When we did the derby.
But it wasn't in this room. It was-
No, it was out in
It was
that
out.
area. I'm just
Well,
wondering.
we had a special permit for that anyway,
Yeah,
because we didn't have occupancy yet.
Mm,
And so it was by a special permit and we had to get that special liquor license for it and
it was fun.
all that other stuff. Yeah,
It was really fun.
yeah, yeah, that was a special.
The other thing on here, so the site plan application is, I just talked with them today and met with them. It's going to be free. No cost. No cost. And so I should be able to turn that in tomorrow to start the approval process on that, and then I'll apply for the building permit. And we can get that on the calendar.
And so we awarded that business at this
Yes.
point. It is,
That was done before.
that's what I thought, but I
Yes.
wasn't.
Yeah, it's all,
Sorry.
that's all set. Okay, so Gwen joined me at Dublin for kindergarten orientation.
Oh, I want to ask about the yearly audit. I'm sorry.
Yep, so still continuing to gather information for the yearly audit. I have not heard from the auditor yet as to
Okay.
when they're coming out.
Okay, thank you.
Joe assures me that when they're ready, they'll call and
I'll say yes.
and I'll say yes, and come on over. But we're getting close to at least having all of the items that we need to provide, except for the items that they really just say, we'll see when we come here, because it's just too cumbersome to send them all the invoices. It's, well, that's what they come in the mail for, so. Yes, so again, happy to see Gwen join me at kindergarten orientation at Dublin. That was a fun night.
Every time I try to go, it gets canceled. The snow, I've been
Oh,
trying to go to the
right.
counties and they all.
Everything gets.
Well, we've got a few things coming up I'm gonna need, so.
So maybe they'll just be ice storms.
Okay.
And is that working for the calendar request?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Just give a no or yes, whatever. And a big thank you to Jen for investigating all of our tile options and driving all over
You're welcome.
the half acre. Beep. So thank you for that. There are some upcoming trustee roundtable. They are a little far, but just wanna, Yeah,
From
so-
what I read, they were on site.
just wanna make you aware, but I'm sure you're getting
Yeah,
that.
no,
One of the goals
I found
for,
those to be
Is
useful,
Aiden the
but-
closest one?
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
yeah, could be.
Alcona's lovely the week before deer season.
Is that unfortunately? Oh, Alcona?
Yeah.
Is that up north? Like
It is where deer hunting takes place usually. I haven't been up in that way for a while.
Now you have an excuse.
Business, it's for business.
It's for business, right?
One of the goals for our head of circulation is to develop a circulation department training manual. And so she's working real hard on that, and that's coming along very well. One of the things going down to communications and marketing is Heather has been doing a fantastic job. I don't know if you've been kind of looking or following us, a lot of our new posts and what they look like. And there's more. And with that, she's bumped us up from, just over 10,500 to 28,000.
Wow.
Our posts are reaching.
Okay, that makes more sense, because I thought 10.5.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was like, right. I said, I can ask a question.
I think what's interesting, engagement rate down a little bit, but what's interesting, if you look at the posts, they really explain everything in one succinct thing, and which has actually helped us to get more followers. We're up followers, but engagement's a little bit different.
Well,
but,
you'd expect that to drop the more people you have.
yeah.
So
Yeah. So
that's really not that big a drop for that number.
Yeah,
So she's just doing fantastic and having a lot of fun with it. She's also having a lot of fun starting on the outdoor electronic sign. Don't know if you've noticed some of the
I
changes
did
there.
notice there was a new flash.
Yeah, a few new things with
Tell me
movement
to check,
on the timing and all of that, right?
because there's one that scrolls,
Mhm.
and I don't know that we can do that.
Okay,
oh, yeah.
It was a slow scroll, so maybe maybe it has a timing factor to
Okay.
it. But I remember when we were going through getting the sign, there was something in the
Yes.
ordinance that said something about scrolling.
Yeah, accessibility is usually an issue with scrolling signs.
Well, and
We're
you're
gonna drive
driving
off the
and you're
road.
reading,
Yeah.
it's a
and
distraction.
it takes you,
Yeah.
what did
yeah,
that say?
Yeah,
So I just noticed I caught the tail end of the scroll. I couldn't tell you which message it was, but it just asked her to check the scrolls. So
Yeah,
Maybe it's a timing issue, maybe there's a specific
Okay.
timing.
Wall Lake Northern's also has sub-scrolling, but it's,
But is it because those are at a stoplight? There's also a stoplight
Even,
at
but-
both of those, so you just. I don't know.
No, good point.
Mhm.
I'm sure there's some rules.
Okay, so that's what's going on there. Another thing we've noticed that Heather instituted was targeting specifically in the building, little quarter sheets, which we've put in the acrylic frames with the QR code to some of our databases. In this case, she put the brain fuse one, I think I mentioned this before, in the study rooms, and she tested it, and it did. It went up from 8 in January to 22 usage in February. So that's a direct result of her marketing.
which,
It's on the very bottom of the
for
quarter sheets and study.
for the,
For the QR code.
Yes.
Yeah, just little.
So she's really trying to look at who's using the library for what purpose, where, and how does that match our online resources
Mhm.
to bump those up. Comment from the February, a couple of funny comments here. Comment from the February 22nd e-news early closure. You'll see the lady was like very happy that we closed for staff, and that's really nice. And then you see my verbiage in italics, thanked her. Those decisions always take a lot of balance and thought to them, but you see her, she's in nice Florida. But there was more to that conversation. It was a little bit cute back and forth, but that was the gist of it. Other one was the Google business 5-star review. Interesting comment, newly built library, nice new facility, but not much different in size or resources from the old one.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, but.
Well, for their purposes, that may well be true, you know.
As a side note to this, we had a staff member who actually had looked us up on Bing and the hours were wrong. So I was able to go in and start Bing places, which will help me to monitor that, and linked it with the Google business page. So the information will be the same. And I also started I checked our Yelp, and we've gotten some great reviews on Yelp, but I also did get signed into that so I can monitor all of those. And just so you know, the summer newsletter will be ready to go soon, shortly. We're working on a few more edits and some smaller additions, but that should be ready to go to print and be sent out soon. A lot of connections for me with busyness, partnered with Shabbat Jewish Center for our Purim program, a few TLN directors meetings, Optimist meetings, several kindergarten orientations, mental health and books program development meeting. That's a social worker, and she's also a children's book author. Lakeland High School Career Expo was a lot of fun. It was my kids went there, so it was great to go back and touch base with the teens and have that opportunity. And DSLRT meeting this month, which was very interesting. They had SEMCOG did a presentation on demographics and what we can kind of expect in the future. There's definitely going to be a lot more in the 50+ range than there will be for the first time ever. We will outnumber, I do say we will outnumber the birth through 18.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a little bit of an
The
issue.
DSLRT, when does the annual report come out?
That's in the fall.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
So we
because,
did that in the fall.
We didn't receive a copy of it last fall.
We have a copy. We have it in a binder in the office, so it's available whenever you want to look at.
If you would send it.
Sure.
Yeah, because it came out on a spreadsheet that we could actually last year, we used it when we were doing our figuring out what we were doing to have a new director, and if you send us the Word, the Excel document, it's easy to filter.
Yes.
Yes, it is, yeah. And we used it extensively, so it's really handy to
Sure.
be able to look at those numbers across all the different libraries that are part of DSL.
Okay.
Thank you.
And remind us what DSLRT stands
It's
for.
Detroit Suburban Librarian Roundtable.
So when we were,
Yeah, and I remember, I knew what it was, but I.
right, but
But it's one of
It's a little bit of
when
a,
I saw that, I thought, oh, I've seen that report for 2021.
Yeah.
I didn't know when it came out, but yeah, if we could have a copy, the Excel copy, that'd be wonderful.
TLN is doing site visits to the library. So they were here yesterday. The executive director of TLN and their marketing person came by for a library tour to bring us some swag as well, TLN swag. Yep. And
It's purple, so don't sign the checks for it.
so good to see them, and they put us on social media as well.
Did they show you anything new they had coming up? Or?
It really wasn't that type of visit.
No, it was okay.
It was just a hi, how are you? And we want to come out and see your library.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I was at New Hope yesterday, which is the assisted living facility, independent living, assisted, and memory care for library card sign up. They have 18 residents, and I believe I got 4 library cards so far.
That's
So-
the one I just did the ribbon cutting on in Williamsburg Road. Okay, yeah.
Yep. Did you go this past Monday to that? Because it was canceled, the snow, or you had signed up originally?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just knew that they were just recently did the ribbon cutting.
yeah, and I wasn't able to attend. So, facilities is going well. The only issue we had was a small, leak from an ice dam, and that did get repaired, and it was under warranty.
Where was that?
That was right out where the Christmas tree is normally, right up there. So book sale went very well. Reminder, the Friends quarterly meeting, that I didn't put it in there in time, but the quarterly meeting is this coming Tuesday for the Friends,
The 28th.
March 28th at 6:30.
Here.
In this room. If you have a chance, if you haven't walked over to the mix yet to see, we've partnered with the Oakland County Historical Commission for a project to promote Oakland County history. So the poster that you framed poster that you see over there on an easel will be changed out every few months to show the history of our county. So I'm excited about that. Jacob gave us notice to leave for a position at a neighboring library. We will miss him. His last day was Thursday, March 9th, and we are looking at applications and conducting interviews for his replacement. We do welcome a new part-time librarian, Austin Weberly. He is finishing up his master's degree, will be graduating in the next month from Wayne State, and he fills position left open from the beginning of January. Deb.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
And what was Jacob's position?
He was full-time adult librarian.
He's usually said reference time.
And he helped with a couple of programs.
Yeah.
Yes, actually did a really great job with programs.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a good job.
So Idea Lab, we're handing out seed kits this month of March with QR codes directing patrons to our seed library. Juvenile staff are also handing out the kits at story times. And while supplies last, anyone who checks out a floral seed packet during the month of March receives a lavender grow kit.
I did get that.
I might have to do that.
I'm all over that.
Very pleased, Emily provided an interview to the Oakland County Times about the new wellness cart in the teen area, so that was included in your documents. She did a great job.
She did a great job. It was a nice room, yes.
We received a preliminary donation of physical wellness supplies. They're actually from Emily's mom, so we're gonna thank her. Very nice. And we have reached out to some local businesses, request donations for that to continue to keep that cart going. We also applied and were approved for the Great Michigan Read Grant,
Do you know? the book this year?
Firekeeper's Daughter.
Oh. Yeah.
We're going to receive 40 to 50 copies of that book, bookmarks and discussion guides. And we applied for and were approved for the Oakland County Parks Recreation Assistance Partnership Program. You'll see we're going to be receiving a climbing tower, inflatable obstacle courses, which will help us with the summer reading bash. And we were able to get, I know as a printing for this, we hadn't known yet, but we are going to be able to get the event package with the bubble zone and all of that for the 1,000 books before kindergarten. I call it a graduation party, but it's finishing on. So we're excited about that. Mallory is doing a great job on our readers advisory binders. So if you're looking for something to read for YA middle or JFIC, check those out. And Stephanie is looking into as her goal, story time kits, and so that we would have kits or backpacks or something that could be checked out. Probably to budget for next year.
Okay.
Maybe if we can do it this year, we will.
I realized that my kids used to dance with them. Like, every time I came in here, I kept thinking, she looks familiar. And she turned away from me and started talking, and I said, it is Mallory. I said, your last name's Stevens. You know, and she said, yes, it is. I said, oh, you are the girl from dance. I thought you were. And I never, asked.
It's really a joy.
Because I don't want to think
Yes.
she doesn't know really like me. Because that makes me old. But yeah, that was cool to look up.
When is she gonna be done? In school?
Same time as Austin. She's about another month.
Oh.
Yeah. They'll both graduate.
Huh.
We ordered those. Go ahead.
Just wondering if either one of them are gonna, if there's gonna be an opportunity for them to stay.
Well, Mallory is. We budgeted for Mallory.
Okay.
Yes. So, we're able to order 8 of those night lock systems. So as soon as those come in, we'll get those installed. And a special
If
thank
it's in before the April meeting, can you maybe after the meeting go look at
the night locks.
to see one of them?
Absolutely, yeah. And then give you this. I'm going to pass this around to you. That is a thank you letter from I'm just going to call it the coin program. I'm not going to try to.
I understand there was actually no, we actually ran under parking.
Yes, we did.
Yes, I had people actually tell me that they wanted to come and they could not find a place to park.
Good problem to
Yeah,
have.
but then during the book sale, somebody says the only problem I've ever had at this library is. People were parking across the street and walking across.
Oh, dear.
Wow.
No, during the
Boing.
program.
There was some issues that they hadn't promoted it, but did say you need to sign up.
The new
So,
magnetic.
3 times
Boing.
people showed up and were signed up with
Yeah.
them, so we had,
Sounds like it was a lot.
Yeah.
yes, but
So, yeah, Emily, Maria,
Doesn't the new plan for the township and everything include parking,
Street parking, yeah.
street parking?
Mhm.
That- So maybe that'll. help
Yes.
a bit.
I think it will. But those ladies, Emily, Maria, and Kathy did a great job of handling the crowds and figuring out the situation. We're gonna call,
Very nice.
we're gonna call them to work on next time to say, okay, let's work together. I'm promoting and make sure people register. So. And then lastly, our IT consultant ran some new cabling in the garage so that staff can use the projector and do a presentation next to the screen at the same time. I know, wow. Instead of running back and forth. Otherwise than that, statistics look good again. And we see that you had requested to add 2019, 2020, 2021. So those have been added in. And everything's looking pretty good as far as statistics. There were any questions on that?
Well, when I was reading through those, this is, and I saw this, and I saw the Wi-Fi usage there. Yes, I think our door counts are fabulous. For January and February. They, they just. I mean, really, it looks like what, June and September of last year, we probably are reading for the.
Yes.
Summer.
Yeah.
And September was probably close to when we closed down, so I just think that the door count looks fabulous. So. How does that door count work? Is it through the front door or is it through this door?
Through the front.
Okay, I'm just wondering because sometimes one of the things that, might make it look higher too is because a lot of people come through for the book sale. So every quarter, that month that we have that, it gives you an idea of how many people actually come through too.
Yeah, if you see 2022 June,
Right.
September, it does
Right,
bump it up.
those are higher and like we have, we start the reading program in the summer,
Mhm.
but also then that's when the book sales are.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah.
And then, and then we
December.
had quite a big jump in December too, because we had book sale, right?
Mhm.
So I think the book sales are.
No. Oh, I'm sorry, looking at I switched to the wrong. I didn't see that. Yeah.
So anyway, it'll be interesting to see from February to March what that number is.
Yeah.
And then, so we had some people that were saying, you know, that we're looking at seeing the Wi-Fi. Things that are going on here and seeing where we can make sure that everybody gets a Wi-Fi connection. But so these Wi-Fi uses, are these people that actually, these are, actual connections to our Wi-Fi
Mhm.
for that month?
Right.
Okay, all right.
I know on the door. In. Over time with like having the. Like, we had a different method when we first started, didn't we? Then we changed over.
We've had different door counters since we started.
Yeah, yeah,
Because one was unfortunately pulled off by a patron who did mess up, and we didn't know that, because we get it off the internet, it's an internet count,
yeah.
a daily internet count, now it's installed overhead, and it counts ins and outs,
Mhm.
so that it's.
So this counts in and out, and then it averages out. What do you mean?
Divide by 2.
Divide by
Divide by everybody. Hopefully, if somebody came.
Okay, so it's something else, some foolish person like myself comes in here 5 times in one day because I keep forgetting things.
You're 5 times, yeah, 5 visitors,
Oh,
5 visits.
just
Yeah.
checking.
Because you
Yeah.
came in for things.
I did. I think last Thursday I was here 5 different times. Yeah.
Yeah. And besides that, anything that gets someone through our doors it's great, and I want to count it.
Okay.
I think that's fantastic.
I
whether it's
think
sale.
it's excellent.
Yeah,
And
I
I
think,
just came from another program right before here, and everybody there had little kids, and they were all talking about how absolutely much they love our new library. Okay, good.
yeah, the door counts are great, but I do think it's worth noting that the methods of counting and the reliability of the count has not always been as good as it is right now.
Okay.
Oh, so that could be why some of them are so different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so some of the
Okay,
lows
thanks, Rich.
and some of the highs were just because stuff was happening to the counters, not so
Okay.
much for the people.
So your Wi-Fi use though isn't necessarily usage, it's anybody who walks in and their phone automatically connects. Doesn't necessarily mean they use the Wi-Fi while they were here.
Or intentionally used it, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It counts, yeah, it counts the splash page, once you acknowledge it, it counts it.
right, but when you download it, it stays that way every time you come in, you don't have to download it again.
That's correct.
Right, so every time I walk in, my phone connects, but I don't use my phone when I'm in here, so I'm not actually using
I
Wi-Fi.
believe you have to acknowledge the
The
splash
splash
page
page.
to
Mhm.
be counted.
And you know what, Karen, I will ask Rich, I will ask Mike for sure, because I asked him several questions yesterday. I will ask him for sure if that's.
Just, you know.
Because I would like to know, because, you know, we've had some people say, oh, you know, sometimes my connection's not good, or I forgot my connection, so I've been talking to Mike about that. And that's what I was, that email, because one of the things, Rich, and I thought, oh, Rich should be part of this conversation. Because people were saying that they, their connection dropped.
Mhm.
And then I heard, well, maybe it's because we've got so many people in the building, but then I look at this and I think,
It's not that many.
it's not that many.
Yeah.
But, and I forgot to ask him the very simplest of questions is, what's our DHCP use time? Because,
Yeah.
so if you have 200 people that come through here that already have a Wi-Fi, have used this Wi-Fi before, and it automatically connects them, right? And our lease time is more than they're actually in the building. Right now is 8 hours. I walked in here, we all walked in here, we've signed up to public Wi-Fi here. It will not release that for another 8 hours, no matter how many other people come in here. Right, and that's the
Okay.
default on many systems, and that's why I wanted to know that, because on those high traffic days.
Mhm.
Is where we're getting some latency problems, and I'm getting people saying something dropped and I can't get back in. Maybe, and I don't know if that's really the case, but that's one thing that we need to look at, is it's potentially. People come through, they walked back out, you know, we start running out of lease time. And we only have /24 here. For public,
Yeah, well, that's,
should be enough,
it should be enough, yeah.
should be enough, right?
It's something I could look at and if had access.
So I asked Mike,
Yeah.
Mike about it yesterday, and I asked him what our bandwidth was,
Mhm.
and then, you know, if it's really not, and I asked him for a DHCP dump. That would show us for the last week to see, I wanted to see if we really had a huge escalation in connections for DHCP leases during the book sale. And if we really do, there's a potential, maybe we don't have enough bandwidth, so. Because if we can get it rolled down, it'll show us the amount of usage. Because one of the, I think I said to you, one of the very simplest things for the amount of bandwidth we have here today. We have 5 or 6 parents sitting in the children's section, streaming a movie while their kids are on the internet. And then we might have 20 or 30 other people that want to connect. It's going to show latency.
Mhm.
If people are
Right.
streaming movies while they're in here, it is going to show. It's, and we have, you know, a half a dozen, it could cause a problem.
Yeah.
So we might not have a big enough, right, so. But Rich is capable of looking at this as anybody. Or more so, I should say. Okay,
More than me, Rich.
Yeah, I,
but really, you know, we offer free Wi-Fi to our community, you know, here, and we need to make sure that it's really consistent.
Right.
And the overdrive numbers have been this.
Yes, that did go up and so did Hoopla. And otherwise that, that's all I've got.
Okay, do we have any idea about the, you know, you're doing the building permit, do we have any idea how long that building permit might take for approval, or will it take more than?
I don't think it takes very long and they told me it's good for 6 months once I do have
Okay.
it.
Okay,
So do we have a timeline with our contractor?
I'm
Or is it just
hoping
been-
once I can get through these 2 little last hurdles that I can get him booked for some time in summer.
good, okay, great. It's exciting. So
I'm good. That's all I got.
right, thank you. Okay, well, you're gonna help me with this.
Yes.
Okay, so,
So we're moving on to the.
we're gonna move down to the finance committee, and hopefully with what I sent out, it's not in April sent out, and we talked with, we had a finance committee meeting. And so Jake's also overlooked this, and I've done a lot of homework in the last week, probably 2 weeks, a lot of homework. So. Looking at our finances, and this has always been sort of the way that it has gone, as we get taxes in at the end of the year, we have a lot of money in one banking entity, right? And so given the just the ups and downs of the banking industry today, I started taking a really good look at what we possibly need to do to ensure that, you know, we have as much FDIC insurance as we can possibly have. And not overburden ourselves with a lot of paperwork as well, right? But we need to make sure that we're fiscally responsible to our community. And right now, we really do have too much money at Flagstar. That's where our taxes come in, and that's where we also do our banking. So I did a lot of investigation with different banks in the community and made some decisions on what they have to offer. And the only other bank in this community that offers a true government services program that we qualify for. Because we are under 5 million, there's many large banks that will not work with us and they consider us a small business. Whereas if we're part of a government banking department, we have much better rates, and so Flagstar is one, and the only other one in this community in our local area is Chase. And you know, Chase is a very reputable and conservative bank. They don't have as good of interest rates in the for checking and savings as Flagstar does for us. However, they will work with us and consider us a government entity. And they're and so then we qualify for their government entity CD rates. Okay. So, and if, as long as we keep $100,000 in either, you know, CD or anything at Chase, then we don't have any fees. And they were the only other place that we would have no fees for a checking or savings account. So, you know, I called and talked to every bank, and every bank that wouldn't talk to me, I actually walked through their door and sat there until I got somebody to talk to me. There's a couple banks in the area that were really not receptive at all. So, and I did put, I put information about them, you know, in my original report to Amy, but I mean, April, but honestly. Some of the banks were like the bank that were recommending that we close our accounts in. They really weren't helpful. So, right now, in this one page that you have, and things are highlighted in green, those are the changes that I'm recommending that we make. We have a CD. So I'll start from the beginning. The first thing I would like to do is I would like to recommend that we close their current PNC account. It's, everything's been cashed out of there, and take that money and officially open our Chase government, banking account. And we have to open a checking with them to be able to do a CD. Okay, so they require a checking. So I think we should take that. Their checking account doesn't pay anything. Their savings account pays like 0.05 or 0.01%. It's very, very low. But it is actually more than we're in at PNC today, and there's no fees. And we are paying fees at PNC today. So, and one of the other reasons I thought about using Chase, one is because it considers a government entity. And two, if for some reason our primary bank, which is Flagstar, you know, if there was something unfortunate there, I recommend we also purchase checks, because then we would be able to, instead of doing a fire drill on bringing up another bank, we'll have this other bank ready. And if something happened with Flagstar, we would be able to go in and almost immediately start doing our business, except for ACH, through Chase. So I recommend that we, you know, this deposit to checking, it's gonna reduce by whatever amount that we pay for checks, but I think we buy the minimum amount of checks, so that we, just to cover all of our bases. Because, you know, like I said, I think Flagstar is very viable. They just bought another bank. And obviously the federal government thinks they're viable, or we, you know, they wouldn't have allowed that, but it doesn't have checking accounts. Okay, so that's my first recommendation. And the second one is, we have, you know, we're under insured in FDIC today. So talking to the different banks, I have the rates on the bottom of what, you know, what I'm recommending that we do. And so one of the things that I didn't understand that Flagstar has until going through this process is they have brokered CDs, Rich, like we looked at PNC, and they call them CDARS. Okay, so they're with different banks. We do everything through Flagstar. It'll show up on our accounts where we'll see them as CDARS rather than CDs. And the CDs we have today are strictly in Flagstar investments. These CDARS are, Flagstar actually goes out and brokers CDs to other FDIC insured banks. And they guarantee that each one of those is FDIC insured separately.
Okay.
So, I still don't think we need to have everything there. I think it's a good idea to have one at Chase as well. And you see that the interest rates are all pretty equivalent. One of the things I like about Chase and about these CDARS is they have a 1 month, technically a 28-day CD. So we can make sure that, you know, so we look at what our checking account is and we say, okay, we have enough to cover the next 2 months in our checking account. We can put money into a 30-day CDARS account, and we can get it out in 28 days. It'll go back into our checking account, and we'll get a very equivalent interest rate on it, and it's insured.
Makes sense.
So I know it was a little confusing to write into, you know. It was, I mean, I did it on a spreadsheet and I'm thinking, okay, I understand it, but not everybody. So I worked with April and Jake, and hopefully it makes some sense. But I think this will get us we'll have $500,000 more that will be fully FDIC insured. And then within like the next 60 days, everything we have will be FDIC insured.
Is this Flagstar loss just?
Okay, so let me, yes, so yes, and fortunately with Flagstar, which most banks are not like this, but Flagstar, so there's a penalty when you close out a CD. Okay, so Flagstar's willing to waive that penalty. We have a 9-month CD with them today. And if we close that, and this was actually offered by our representative at Flagstar, if we close that now, instead of waiting till it would close in July, we would, she'll waive the penalty and we would lose this $1,945 from what we originally thought, you know, what the original earnings would be. However, if you look below, we would open a 3-month CD and we will make about $500 more. So it's actually an advantage to us. Right, and we're not gonna, so this is our loss, but this is also, for that same amount of time, this is our gain, and it's like $460 difference. So it actually is really beneficial for us to go that way.
Okay.
Okay, so the source for, the source for the CDs, the 50,000 would come from.
It's gonna come from the first one that's highlighted,
150.
150, which comes due next April 3rd.
Okay,
Okay, and then the 200,000, which is the one that we're gonna close early.
200.
And then the Flagstar savings, we're gonna pull 150 from that Flagstar savings. Because that Flagstar savings falls under the CDs as well as, so for that FDIC insurance. Where our checking is separate because it's a different kind of, it falls in a different category. And only because we are a government banking entity,
Mhm.
that they look at our checking account and our savings account differently. And she said, and I thought that because I looked it up on the FDIC and I ran the calculation, you can run calculations. And there's a very specific section in FDIC to run those calculations for government entities. So that was another reason, Rich, that I really thought it was important that we go to another bank that
Mhm.
considers us a government entity.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Very good, very good. So it looks like we need a bunch of,
motions.
Motions.
And,
I would recommend that we have motions that are like bank specific versus this to this, having the two, because you're gonna
So
need
we're
to.
cashing in the 4 green things on top and buying the 4 green things on the bottom. Is that
3 green
basically-
things on the
Or
bottom.
the 3 green things. on the
Yes.
bottom.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
And we're open, I'd like to do 2 motions. One about the bank, the PNC to Chase banking accounts. And a second motion that will identify what monies are gonna go into what bank. Okay,
So do you want, so you.
so I wrote it up and I had Karen's looked at it and Jake has looked at it.
My only concern with that is it will, you basically are saying, okay, here's, PNC, we're taking this to Chase. Chase, we're taking this from PNC, which we avoided in the past being. So just putting the motion that says Chase, here's what we're approved to do. Here's what we elected to do. PNC, here's what we elected to do.
So here's how I wrote up the motion, Rich.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna make the motion to close the PNC checking account. And open a Chase government banking accounts to deposit $1,115.84 into checking. And 4,000 into savings. That's gonna be my first motion.
So what I'm suggesting is break that into a motion to close the PNC
Yes.
account, and then a separate motion to open a Chase government. So that you have, because you have to use that. That's what, so your ticket to the bank.
So I can't say just one motion to
You
close the
can.
PNC checking account to open a Chase government account?
We can,
Okay,
it's not illegal or, but it's easier with the bank to say, we have a motion to open this account. This is, and we have a motion to close this account. So it's one piece of paper that is the sum total of the action. So when the bank has it, there's no.
Okay,
Okay. all right.
so what
I'm gonna
you're,
make 2 motions right here.
so then what you're saying is there would be a motion to close the PNC checking account.
And
And then a motion to open the
Chase
Chase
account.
with this deposit.
And I don't even think we have to put that down.
I think just open the government account.
Right. Okay, so,
But then that's money, so don't we have to,
Yeah, and say you're
Put the
gonna,
money-
I think we need to put, here's, we're going to put in this amount of money.
okay,
including purchase checks you just said, so.
and I don't know what that's gonna be. It'll come out of the checking once we open it.
But so that would be part of the motion though, to purchase the checks.
Yes,
Okay,
okay, so I'm gonna make two motions here,
okay,
okay? But
yep,
you're gonna split that.
yep, I've split it
Okay.
already, so now I just
Okay.
need names.
So I make a motion to close the PNC checking account.
And that's it, not the numbers or anything. You're just,
That's
okay,
just
so
it.
who wants to second that motion?
I'll second that
Okay.
motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Now I'm gonna make a motion to open Chase government banking accounts with a deposit of $1,115.84 into checking. Might be $10 less than that if PNC charges us. And $4,000 into savings.
can you say 4,000?
You know, I'm gonna say
Savings and the balance
yes.
into the state.
I'm gonna say, okay, so I'm gonna say, my next motion is to open the Chase government banking accounts
Yep,
with $4,000 in savings.
with, okay, $4,000 in savings, I'm just gonna mark it on here, because we've already got it up once, okay. With the $4,000 in savings,
And the remainder of the PNC balance in checking.
Good.
Okay,
PNC balance. In checking,
yes,
and then including a purchase of checks,
including the purchase of checks.
okay,
Okay,
all
thank you.
right,
So can I have someone second that?
I'll second that.
all right, okay, you got this part.
Okay,
When, and then. Got it,
So now we're on number 3.
Vote first, right?
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, guys have it.
okay,
Good call.
so
number 3 is,
now, Rich, I was going to make a motion that, to make investment changes totaling $500,000. To reduce our FDIC underinsured risk at Flagstar,
That's fine. I think.
or I could just say, I'm making a motion to, make investment changes. Totaling $500,000. Or moving $500,000 from Flagstar.
these are all in CDs, right?
No, some of it's from our savings,
Oh, yeah.
okay? And I can do each one of these separately. Okay, I can say,
Can you just say from CDs and savings totaling $500,000?
that's what, what I'd written up was, I'm making a motion to make, investment changes totaling $500,000. To reduce FDIC underinsured risk at Flagstar savings and CDs with the following investments,
Yeah, that sounds,
okay? So this is gonna be one motion,
okay,
so that's exactly what we have written right now.
okay,
Okay, and then invest 500,000 from Flagstar savings. To open a 1-month $50,000 Flagstar CDAR.
so $50,000.
Yeah, so those are gonna be right here at the
500,000.
bottom of this sheet, Rick.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
Did you
the 50,000 is from Flagstar savings,
it's all gonna be from Flagstar, yes.
okay, oh, wait a minute,
So, yes, so invest $50,000 from savings
got it,
to open a 1-month $50,000 Flagstar CDARS. Close a 200,000 CD early without penalty. Along with $25,000 from savings to invest in a 3-month, $225,000 Flagstar CDARS. And then
The remainder coming from,
invest $150,000 expired Flagstar CD along with $75,000 from savings. To open a 3-month, $225,000 Chase CD.
the one item you're taking 200,000 and converting that to a 225.
Yes,
So you want to state where the other 25,000 is coming from?
I did. I said, close the $200,000 CD early without penalty. Along with $25,000 from savings to invest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and pretty much I written it up in number 2.
Yeah.
Okay,
And all of the savings is coming out of this 165.
yes.
Oh, I see under here, yeah. Okay,
I'm sorry, Rich, I
Yeah.
should have made that.
no, that's fine.
I know, I had to really think about it. and how to
Yeah,
write it up.
yeah. No, I know.
So,
it's-
so yes, and so I turned that into a motion, okay?
So
Second
all
motion,
in favor of that one?
Well,
or second, right?
Yep.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, so Eric, are you good?
Yep, yeah,
Just
that's right,
checking.
yeah, no, good.
Okay,
Okay.
now you can
Now
have a
it's
say.
all in favor?
Stand.
So, with that said,
Good job.
thank you.
So I was all-
It was, it was a lot of thought, a lot of work and a lot of talking and begging people to talk to me and blah, blah, blah. But
We also really
I think that I think it's in our best interest.
Yeah, no,
And
absolutely.
I honestly wish I would have known about the CDARS earlier,
Yeah, I didn't hear
because we would have taken advantage of them a long time ago.
And their rates are pretty
They're
similar.
pretty
very
similar. Yeah, yes. Blackstar changes, probably maybe once a month. Chase changes every week.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure what that exact rate is gonna be. I actually didn't look after 2 o'clock what happens to rates today.
But once you buy in, it's locked the whole.
Yes,
time.
right,
There's
but
nothing
what happens to
very-
rates today, does?
I don't know.
They raised rates, but
I thought they were going to.
yeah, they
Okay.
did, yeah.
So,
Stock
yeah,
market
so
today
that's
is
why I
too.
didn't put interest rates in here, because
Yeah.
they may change
Yeah,
before,
yeah.
but they're not gonna be that much different. And so so we have a next step, you and Rich and I, there's a document for Rich to fill out for Chase, and I will send it to you, and you just need an update, they actually have your information, you just need it to give them an updated driver's license.
Okay,
You're
like I have to go to the.
no,
Chase
no,
physically,
no,
or-
we will, and that's, so what will happen too is when they finalize this, they will come in and meet us here,
Oh,
okay? So I think, no, and we will be able to work with them just like we do Blackstar, and we will do everything online. Right?
Mhm.
Okay. Done.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so who's reporting for strategic planning committee?
I could do that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good.
So we had a meeting today with, and we've been meeting, we had a couple of meetings. in this. Innovative strategies. For library strategy?
It's library.
Library strategy. I think you said modern strategy.
Oh,
things like that.
sorry.
Yeah, no.
I'll talk louder.
No, I'll listen louder.
Okay.
And so we have a sort of a plan for, whom to invite to the steering committee, and those, like, invitations have, it's mostly gone out, they haven't all gone out. We have a date planned for next Wednesday for the steering committee meeting.
That's in the morning.
So,
Yeah.
what, who would be on, what kind of people are on the steering committee? 'Cause this is new.
There's a steering committee of, go ahead,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
of about 8 to 12 people type of a thing from the community. With so like, for example, people
Plus some board representation, and the staff gonna be on it too.
staff, some staff, yeah.
So there's some library and some board, like maybe 2 or 3 people from each side. So a
Okay.
total number of like less than 20,
Okay,
like 15.
but like who in the community, what type of people in the community?
So we've reached out to schools, we've reached
Okay.
out to local businesses, we've reached out to government officials, we've reached out to homeschool group.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so religious leaders, and so try to get a, a broad
Okay,
spectrum.
great.
Community outreach.
And
Yeah,
then their
yeah.
job is to get us the people for the focus groups, is
Yeah.
to help us.
Okay.
So their job isn't to be our focus group, they're to help us get a wider
Okay.
range
Yeah.
of, we only know certain people, so
Yeah.
businesses know a certain amount. The government
Standard.
knows certain amounts and the schools know different, everybody knows different people
Okay,
to come
So
into
they're-
the
And then
focus groups.
they'll oversee our plan at the end.
Yeah,
before
so
we present it to
they'll-
Everybody.
yeah.
Get their input in that.
There, so that's part of the, what we liked about the library strategies approach was this sort of umbrella. So it took us a little bit to go like, what?
Yeah.
But
We understood it.
the ones who understood, it's like, okay, that makes sense, and it's a way of engaging people without giving a bit, having them required to provide a big commitment
Mhm.
to it. It's really just for them, maybe 2 to 3 meetings
okay,
there, and kickoff being one probably in the middle of the process, and then one before the plan gets finalized to present to the board there. And so we're looking at that, sort of kickoff meeting to happen on the next week. And we're looking forward to, be able to present the plan to the board in July. So that's kind of
nice.
the timeline of the window there. And so, like I said, the invitations for that event are going out or have gone out. And I think we're moving along. We set an agenda for the steering committee meeting. We
Surveys, we got the surveys.
beginning on the
Oh, nice.
survey
Wow.
work, so
I didn't know we were finalizing. it.
Well, they're being finals, we gave,
We get feedback on the staff one.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
so that one was where we're at there. There, and so, it's been productive, they've been good partners with us. So far, so we're looking forward to success, looking forward to being, getting the feedback and.
mhm,
So we
Getting it
have
done.
people in the community that we think that should be part of this.
Just give us one.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's the other thing was discussing the focus groups,
Yeah,
what type we want, who would be good
Sure.
into them with a nice wide range of people from the
sure.
community.
There's a few young people I know that really, that actually have come up to me recently and talked about how much they like the library and I think, oh, they need to be on our strategic. Yeah, people in their early 20s.
Yeah, yeah, and so they were looking at different ways so community survey is definitely part of that. Focus groups and probably some one-on-one interviews there to, bring sharp focus into maybe some areas where otherwise we don't have, much there. So we'll, there's a lot of opportunities for people to give input.
Okay.
And that's really what this is all about,
Sure.
getting good, well thought out input. That, we can use to move forward.
Great.
That's a nutshell.
Exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. Did I miss anything?
No, I
Great.
threw them in,
Yeah.
so we got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was making notes, like, what did we talk about today? So that-
Yeah,
It was a pretty long meeting today.
yeah, it was a good.
Yeah, we got a lot done.
Yeah. There.
Okay, and then policy committee, do you have anything? You're just picking off, right?
So policy committee, doodle poll was sent to the board, members of that committee, and I'm just waiting for one last person to reply, and we should have a date to have our first review of some of the first policies.
I'm not-
Um,
No.
No.
Jake
I
and-
thought I missed Aaron, okay.
No,
Last-
you're not on.
Seems to come on everything.
last month, Jen had asked for the, listing, so we were able to provide a table of contents, to her for what policies will go, and
Oh,
the,
do we
you,
all have a copy then?
no, I just had it at the last minute.
Okay,
It was the
yeah,
last
that'd be
Do I
month.
need to make copies of this or will they?
I'm gonna send it to the
Okay,
two,
thank you.
three,
Yeah,
yeah.
scan copy, whatever. we need.
I mean, I just got it like,
Okay.
So, that's where we're at with it.
all right. So we have no new business. And we, as you all know, we couldn't get the tile we wanted. And so we had to find another tile. I went to 3 different tile stores. And the one tile that I selected one tile in different colors and blah, 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 and we're down to what's over here. We'll take a minute to look at it. It is in the bottom basket of costs of, so I tried to get the less expensive ones. And we got a requote and there was only like another $200 in installation going from a 12 by 24 tile into these 3x12 subways. So that was one thing I was worried about is how is that gonna affect the installation part of the quote? And the pricing part of the quote is just the fact that we can't get $4 tile, which is what he, basically quoted us, and he gave us he had started with that.
Yeah, so, and I just worked with him, just over the last 2 days, and so we do have a final invoice, which would take into account all of the costs and everything. We had already cut the second check, which was supposed to be the final check, and he did need more money in order to order the rest of the tile and get it all going. So I provided him with the second check, and he provided me with an invoice that would be the cost to install the new tile, which is just an additional $43.90.
So that's the cost and the labor.
Right.
Got it. Okay, yeah.
So,
I figured
and that
it was
would
gonna
finish
be
it.
around 4. Okay, so that's good. And anyway, so you guys can come up here and look at that
Yeah, I like
after
that.
we adjourn.
And I looked at it, I like it.
So that would be what I'm looking for. Is a
Oh,
motion
oh.
to adjourn.
Do we need any approval for the extra?
I don't think so.
Are you
because
all-
We didn't approve to a dollar amount. We just approved the quote.
Okay.
And so, and this is like, we just a little over 15% of the total.
Did you have a total in it to begin with?
No, that's why I don't think we have.
Okay,
Because we were all of the understanding it was gonna have to be more because we couldn't get the tile at the.
okay, right.
So that was just my interpretation of where we were at. Same thing with the clock. We didn't approve the clock to a dollar amount. And I reported last month that the new quote's gonna be higher because that quote was almost 3.5 years old.
Well, hopefully it's not gonna be too much higher.
It's not,
Okay.
but he doesn't, I haven't gotten a final quote on the clock. Have you?
I haven't got a final. I have a quote if you
Yeah.
want that.
We approved that. Is that the one? we're all-
I have this was just like a couple weeks ago.
Oh, is it like 72 or something?
It's 84.23.
That might be the updated quote then.
I think that's the updated one.
Okay.
All right, well, let's go back in time.
Well, let's adjourn and look at the time.
Okay, because we don't have to approve anything tonight. Okay,
No,
I make a motion to adjourn.
the time.
Second.
Okay, awesome. All right, so we're adjourning. at
All in
9.
favor?
Vote for that.
Yeah, you know what?
All in favor.
Aye.
For all the other ones, we were like in synchronous.
But I was looking for the time,
And so you
7:54.
guys could have switched that.